notice, and so I think we'll just start. Shelley has on here the first agenda item. If you all come up here and stand by the flag, we'll make this thing official.
Oh, you're going up there, okay.
So they can read it all. But no, we'll see how good their memory is.
Okay.
Okay. It says all public officers before entering upon the duties of their offices shall take and subscribe to the following oath of affirmation. So, and repeat after me and just say I and your name.
I, Martin Jacob,
Do solemnly swear that I will support, obey, and defend
solemnly swear that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma,
the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma,
and that I will not knowingly receive directly or indirectly
and that I will not knowingly receive directly or indirectly
any money or other valuable things
any money or other valuable things
for the performance and or non-performance of any act
for the performance or non-performance of any act
or duty pertaining to my office,
or duty pertaining to my office,
other than the compensation allowed by law.
other than the compensation allowed by law.
I fully swear
I fully swear
that I will faithfully discharge my duties as an EMS board member to the best of my ability.
that I will faithfully discharge my duties as an EMS board member to the best of my ability.
Very good, you're in.
That last one's a little tough.
Thank you guys for serving. Yes, thank you very much.
Okay. We're going to call this meeting to order and roll call. We've got Joe Phillips.
Here.
Brett Smith.
Here.
Arden Chafee.
Here.
Matt Sutter.
Here.
And Linda, if y'all didn't know, had an accident last week and can't be here, but we'll get her sworn in when she has the ability to do it. But you'll have a quorum, so we're good. And we'll let you all go about electing officers. Turn the meeting over, or I guess I'll conduct it. We have a nomination. We need a chairman. Everybody will have a duty. Chairman, vice chairman, secretary, treasurer, and clerk. Five titles, you might say, but every one of you will have a title.
I nominate Matt Sutter for chairman.
I second.
I've got a motion and a second. Any discussion or further? Then I say you go for a vote. We'll do it by roll call.
Yes.
Joe, Brett,
Yes.
Arden,
Yes.
Matt, no choice. Okay, vice chairman.
I nominate Arden Chafee.
I move that the nomination cease and Arden be elected by acclamation.
Okay, we'll bypass that and call it good. Arden, you're it. Secretary.
Nominate Joe Phillips.
Good notes.
I think maybe Linda ought to have that job.
Always the girl, right? Always pick on the girl.
You're gonna need some minutes before Linda's here.
That's true. Too much Say Brett.
I guess I can give it a shot, yep. That was the one that I didn't want in here. I'll give it a shot.
So I'll move that Joe be elected secretary.
And, okay, and that the nomination cease? Yeah, okay. We'll take that, we'll go with that. Joe, you're in. And treasurer,
Too bad Linda isn't here.
Okay, now we've got that done. Matt, you want to take over with item number 5?
Okay. So we'll review and discuss possible action regarding the fiscal year 2021-2022 estimate of needs and budget. Mr. Chairman, do we have a copy of this? Are we looking for a budget? Is that what we're looking for?
Oh,
She's gonna get you some here. And I will tell you, this is only for the county budget, right? This is to get our entire budget. They need to sign off on that.
they always have, will have to
Well,
sign
I
off
mean,
on that, on their
yeah.
EMS,
But essentially, it is entailed, just so y'all know, your budget is part of our budget, is what I'm
Yes.
trying to get at.
So that's why I'll call, when we have to get ours in, I'll be calling and saying, hey, we've got to have a special.
It's
meeting.
designated in these bylaws.
Oh, is it?
That they have, but this first time, just so you know.
Yeah,
That your budget is already set, and David could elaborate on that a little bit. It's estimated, it's not set.
That's right. We were gonna go with 80% because your overall cost at the beginning is gonna be higher, but I think the budget maker went with 90%. And so, when you get audited, what is that, 10%? Is that 10% of their budget?
yes.
Well, so that's why you hold back 10%. Plus, there's a 10% non-collective fee, delinquent fee. So it's basically 80% over the top. You don't budget 100% of your money. You hold 10% for your audit and 10% delinquents. And so with the estimated amounts, we're looking at Alva area, the school district of Alva will be estimated at $346,000. Winoka, I have estimated at $217,000, and Freedom right at $43,000.
So the total that he budgeted this year is $577,521.20.
Was that?
I've tagged everywhere.
Yeah, you won't budget that total amount I gave you, you'll budget 80% of that.
Yeah, you'll want it, definitely, yeah.
80% of the 577?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Well,
what,
no, the numbers I gave you were 607, they totaled like 607,000.
I guess they can do that. What Buddy told me that normally they do is between 80 and 85%. This year, we're going to, it's legal, we're gonna pay I mean, it's probably safe to start with that 80%, because that carryover is always gonna be, if there's carryover, you're gonna get to distribute that carryover at a later date. But we're gonna pay the bonding this year.
This year.
We probably are gonna pay the budget maker this year.
Well, he said he would wait.
Oh, okay.
He would wait
Okay.
until the money comes in if they
Okay.
wanted to, so.
So, Mr. Chairman, the budget is $577,921.41, or,
Yes,
and that is 80% of.
that's
90.
That's 90.
That's 90, but like I said, inside that budget, you'll see that
You'll
it
want
takes
to
off
keep
10%
another.
of delinquents. So yes, you can budget that whole 577.
And so. I've marked everywhere. Need to sign.
Essentially, Matt, what you guys need to do is approve that. Then you're on your own after
What's
that.
the 10% of the delinquents?
So I just need a motion to approve the
What's the 10%
500.
for the delinquents?
That's just part of the budget. When you budget like you don't budget 100% of collected taxes, you budget only 90%.
Exactly. Where are you throwing the other 10 at?
It goes into the budget. If you don't,
It's just state.
But that's
if we
allowed.
do collect it, then it goes into your budget.
Hopefully you collect 100%, but there's always protests and mistakes and whatever. So we're only allowed to use 90% of that estimated tax.
I know,
that,
but then you guys have dropped it to 80%.
that's gonna be
Where the other 10 is.
afterwards. That's what I was trying to get at. What they're voting on right now is 90% of what they think the total's gonna be. Then their expenses will come with their next action. They'll only 80 to 85% of that, because they're gonna have to pay bills out of part of that money, that 573.
It's standard procedure on county government to only
You
budget
want-
90%.
That's okay.
Have I still got you confused?
No, I
Okay.
see what you're doing.
Each year they'll have their audit, the budget makers expense, and then their,
That's where the
Bonding.
10% comes out of the audit, comes out of that initial 10%.
No,
yeah, well, it is.
no, you don't know. That 10%, that 90
Saved for-
is there because they aren't sure that we're gonna collect that. That's just across the board 90%. So they allow you to use 90%, but then when they get to another agenda item or whatever, their actual budget, that's the county budget, is what I'm trying to say right there. Their budget then, they're gonna get to allocate 80 to 85% of that 90%. Then that 10% is gonna be what they'll accumulate if whatever, say we end up getting 95% of the estimated instead of 90, that 5% then comes to everybody as a whole. We don't get to budget for it at the county, so, and you all don't either, you're just budgeted for 90% of what's actually the assessor has, or the treasurer is billing out.
You get 100% what's coming to you. You don't
Yeah.
lose any money.
Right.
You just don't budget.
Realize that.
Yeah, and you might not get it all because there could be errors or there could be protest or whatever that could lower that. And 10% is a cushion, is what I'm getting at. So you're only allowed to work with 90%.
of this.
Yeah,
I
And that's-
understand that. I'm
and that's
trying to
allowing
figure out
for
what you're doing with
delinquent
the other 10.
taxes too.
right.
Yes.
Well, the 573 is 90%. But then they have to take their bonding, their budget, and their publications out of that 90%. So that's where it drops down to 80 to 85%, whatever those costs are.
577.
Keep that secretary.
Huh?
That's okay. Let's move forward. I think you guys are.
No, I don't.
But that's their first action, is to approve that 90% of the money, which is equal to that 573. Then they'll decide what.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the estimated needs budget for FY 2021-2022 in the amount of $577,521.20.
And I second that.
Is it 77 or something?
It's been, let me go through it, it's been moved and seconded to approve the budget for fiscal year 2021, 2022. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All
I
opposed?
think we have to have a roll call vote on this.
Okay. So go through a roll call.
That'd be the secretary.
You usually ask, is there any discussion? And then you'll ask for a roll call vote.
Okay. Is there any discussion? Secretary, have a roll call.
Okay, roll call. I forgot his name.
Brett.
Brett, I was gonna say Bryce. Brett,
Yes.
Arden,
Yes.
Matt.
Yes.
All right. So, and Joe would be yes, so, I mean, do I vote on that?
Yes,
So that's
yes.
a 4-0, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So it is passed.
Okay. Item 6 is discuss the possible action regarding adopting bylaws for the EMS Board.
Okay, on that, Matt, those ones that you have in front of you are just an example of Butler, Oklahoma, which is in Custer County.
We gotta sign these. We gotta sign all this
Oh, okay,
stuff.
go ahead.
Okay. So, you're the only one that signs this one. And then everybody else needs to sign. There's 3 spots, no, 2 spots for you guys, and then I've got the other 2 marked for me and the excise board, so.
And these are
These are the budgets.
the budgets.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah. There. And there.
Go ahead.
Mhm.
Oh, I suppose there's probably somewhere else. on this.
Yeah. The next tab.
There's lost it there.
Right there.
Is that it? Those 2 places?
Mhm. Yeah, and then.
Did you write down the towns for
I wrote
And
it.
then you sign that.
Stick it.
Very beginning.
Yes. Thank you. I think there's 2 sheets per,
No, but ours.
2 sheets
We're at point six thousand.
per book.
Oh, 270.
Okay, here.
That's the one we got out of it.
Yeah.
Nope.
I thought yours would be higher.
So there's,
They figured that out.
It's a little bit less.
Well, I agree, but I was thinking in the 70s or
that,
that way.
We figured it'd be
Yeah.
from 30 to 50.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay, I'm finished with it.
Are you still clear as mud about this
Yeah,
night?
and
Huh?
we just do it.
Just kidding over there.
I'll find it.
I know, that's what I said, you did not even.
Yes, we do it.
Yeah, there's the first page and then the second tab.
Oh,
Oh, you've got tabs in there.
oh, no, no.
Yeah, see, they have to
It's all right.
say our budget. That's what the 3.
Gonna have to get some stronger
tabs,
tabs,
Shelley.
I know, these aren't very good.
So that gets us, okay, with.
This calls for
To get the
I think
the
so
whole
too.
budget approved. We have
I
to
have to sign
sign.
it to the written, you
But
have.
so,
Right.
but right now, the 577 is what these guys are gonna have to work with. So they're gonna have to determine somewhere between 80 and 85% to hold out in this 577 to pay those three bills.
We made those out of our 10%.
2 teams?
Well,
2 places.
then
2
that-
places on
then
each
it
one,
would be,
yep.
but see what's gonna happen,
Thank you.
whatever that 10% is not figured in here is gonna come back into the fund. So it's all the same, it's just, but that's the deal, is why they,
I didn't tell you that.
but
So
in the
you'll be
future,
signing on
see,
all those?
when they have to budget for us, see, their budget will be for next year's money.
Well, I could just write it by
Oh, I
side.
do.
There's nothing wrong. Right here?
With money, we're gonna pay for all, and see, I need to find out for Shelley, these people need to know. She
Glad I didn't get secretary.
Yeah, boy. I'm thinking, yeah,
Here,
here,
it's only 10%.
Cheering here.
The treasurer has to sign all the checks.
Okay.
I need one more.
ACO said they couldn't do it, that's what Laura did for Shelley.
Yep.
And they said they didn't do it.
I
We had
signed
to
so
go
many
to
checks in
a
City Hall, I had to stamp.
I'll bet.
And she was gonna check, and it's $10,000.
They would wash that
But
one
I
by one.
never got what that cost.
But.
Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't be very much, because of $10,000 wrong.
Ours is our insurance.
There, you read the bylaws about it.
I guess, or just do I need to?
Well, I know it has to be, because we checked with ACO.
Did you get a set of bylaws
Actually, it's
to look at? Oh, you do? Okay, very good.
county fire,
Can't do it.
insurance.
I mean, I kind of have a problem with ACO not doing it,
Is it Lisa
because that's
Hutchison?
pretty easy money.
Is it
Linda.
Linda Hutchison? How I heard she was involved in motorcycle
Yeah,
accidents.
Yeah, she told me she was doing okay,
Because they're very
but,
interested.
Has her husband been released?
well, the day I talked to her, they were
You know,
just
and it's
getting
easy
to the
money.
hospital, and they were going to a cousin's in Arkansas to recuperate
Well,
before they
my
came
point is,
home.
we're self-insured. Those
So,
little
I'm not
sure
sure how
deals
long
like this should be what we should be There's very little risk about it. I got it back on.
Hey, thanks, guys.
That's what politics is. I don't have shit on it.
Check code.
Like your coach.
You're doing a great job.
Oh, yeah.
All right. I think I got everything I need.
Okay, you've already read the agenda item, Matt, and just so you know that those bylaws, and you all need to look at them.
Both of those.
We actually started changing those over to Woods County, but some of that stuff was on the Butler from Custer. So you all need to talk about your meeting dates, and I visited with the ambulance directors, and they think quarterly as far as when it comes time to making payments. You may want to meet a little more than that between now and the first of the year to get, my suggestion is you all look at these and decide on your meeting dates, and you read through them and decide what you want to do, and meet again, and then discuss it as a whole to set those up. Today may be a little much to decide is what, and if you want to go over them, Matt, we can do it by each item there on those bylaws. I mean, that is where we're at, isn't it? I mean, I'm not jumping the gun, am I?
That's the next item. So you just want to go through each article?
Yes, I think that's, and we can change those to your liking, or you can table them to think about whenever you come to that. And then at another meeting, adopt them is what, without doing something and then trying to change it after you adopted them today.
Okay. You guys want to table this, or do you want to get it approved now? Or,
It's pretty much been done, hasn't it?
Well, the only thing is, it says you're gonna meet monthly. I don't know if you need to.
yeah.
I think you might want to, when you get to that Article 3 on the finance, you may want to set up your own set of rules of like what you would like to have from the ambulance directors or from the towns in way of making it easy for you to check their expenditures, their balances. Here's just a little food for thought, and I've talked to most of the ambulance people. If you do that quarterly, if I was you, the bank statements would be what I'd want. That'd give you their balance, and it should have their expenditures in there. And as long as they're ambulance related, you're good. But it's your call whether you want them to set up a separate account for this money to go into. That also make it easier to track. Because with Alva and Winoka, it's going to be a joint effort, kind of a joint venture, but if they keep that money separately, they can also use this estimated needs for their budget to know to budget towards an ambulance, but this keeps them from commingling that money so you can see exactly where it was spent. They're just suggestions is all I'm making. I mean, from what I've talked to other people and stuff is where I'm coming up with these suggestions, because it's my first rodeo too. And,
We had a pooled account at the city of Alva, and it led to some discrepancies.
Well-
Not any missing funds, but. like
you follow
say-
what I'm saying. If you ask them to put it in a separate account, then whatever you want to see from them, but bank records would be good quarterly with a balance, and that should have checks listed about what they were spent on. Those are the two things you're going to be concerned about, is as long as the expenditures are towards ambulance service, or they leave it in that account, they may want to pool this money to buy some piece of new equipment, so it could be left in there, doesn't have to be spent. You follow where I'm coming from. That's you guys' call, but that's my suggestion from county government. It's easier to leave it in a specific account, so it's easier to track. The auditor will like you also.
I believe in transparency, so I think that's something we should do.
But those are the things I think you don't have to make up your mind today, but that's one thing. And if you do it quarterly, I think it works better for everybody to just go over that stuff quarterly, and it's not a burden on maybe you guys to have meetings when, and they're all good with receiving a check quarterly from you. Is another, yes. Now, this from Butler, the difference being is that they had a private ambulance service out here, and that private service wanted their checks monthly. Is kind of the difference, which is understandable. So they wrote them a check monthly, is why they meted monthly in these. That's one of the things that I thought that you might want to change is the meeting dates that's in these bylaws.
Has the county attorney reviewed these bylaws?
He thought it was good, but I mean, that leaves us an opportunity to change. You know, I mean.
Have any of you received this book of this information handed to you, how to set up a 522 board? I can email you guys an electronic copy. And there's copies of bylaws in here as well that the state put together, or the OSU Extension Office, when these ambulance service were being built. I know it's a little bit to read, but if you guys would take the time to do it, possibly before you adopted any bylaws or anything like that, I think it would help you greatly. We just want to do this right the first time.
And this one I handed out to you is strictly an example of what, because here is the deal, guys. A lot of 522s manage the only ambulance service in the county. And this is just going to be a pass-through for the money from each ambulance district to that ambulance.
And like Randy said, we do want it where you guys check to make sure we're spending it appropriately. Obviously, it's taxpayers' dollars. It needs to go on ambulance service personnel, wages, things like that. So he's got a positive point there that you guys need to oversee that with the fine-tooth comb.
And should we adopt a quarterly meeting schedule, we can always meet in an emergency meeting by posting.
48 hours notice.
Yes.
And that says that in that bylaws. But that's why I also handed out this copy of the ballot that we voted this in on. You want to, anytime you adopt something that's kind of specific to our area, you want it to fit what the people voted on.
So as ambulance directors, would that be you think that would be the best way to do it as far as making a separate account
Yes.
to put that money into?
I asked the auditors that because that's what we had in mind as well. He said we didn't necessarily need to. I like the idea myself, just because then you see what's going in and out of that
Well, I think it'd be
account.
much easier on us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they don't have to send you everything. Like if it's coming out of their general EMS budget, which
Right.
they all should have another EMS budget going along with this one, then this money is being spent on that, not a road or a sidewalk or something like that. So yes, I think that would be.
All this is a supplement to those, all three of them's
Right.
existing budget.
Right.
Okay, so we can agree on separate bank accounts for every EMS.
I do agree with Pebbles, though. I don't know that we should move on this until because I'm coming in here, I'm blind completely. And I would like to know a little bit more about what we got going before we.
We would appreciate that.
Yeah, I think that's good. I mean, the DA approved this deal, but that's where there'll be a lot of reading in there about if they're gonna manage it, I'm pretty sure, right? There's a lot more rules if you're gonna manage an ambulance district, which you aren't going to, so it's kind of twofold.
So I don't know if we need to make a motion to table that or what, but that would be my suggestion.
Yeah, I think you should, but you aren't done. I think there's some other things. here to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
And one of them, I mean, I think you should table the bylaws as a whole, just come to some
Yeah.
agreements on this. But the one thing, and is it in there, I was gonna ask you, and the one thing that you wanna talk about while you got these girls here today is, I think you need a contract with each ambulance district. And I think it needs to be 3 of the same. But you need a contract with each one of those ambulances, kind of spelled out what, like the separate account, how you're going to pay them quarterly, blah, blah, blah. So faces change, guys, as we all know. In this way, new ambulance director, new board member, new whatever, it's already set up how it's supposed to work.
But you're saying a contract, not one for Al, but
Yes.
actually, but all 3 of them would be the same, basically.
I think so, but signed by you guys and that ambulance director or whoever with authority there in those 3 districts.
Does it talk about that in those bylaws?
There are examples of contracts in there as well.
Okay.
And the ambulance directors are
Nope.
Havel, Freedom.
Myself, and she's acting,
Bridget,
and then Alicia with Winona, but she's at the hospital with her sister.
Who's the one from Milwaukee?
Alicia Green.
So, Mr. Chairman, do you need a motion to table the bylaws, adopting the bylaws at this point?
I do.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to table the bylaws. Any discussion? Secretary?
Okay, we have a motion then to table the bylaws. Can you get a count? Matt? Right, I'll say you first. Or am I not supposed to do that first?
All I can go by is how we did it at City Hall.
Okay,
And we would ask the person that made the motion first.
Okay.
The person who seconded it.
so
Second.
that would be Arden,
Yes.
Brett,
Yes.
and Matt,
Yes.
and I am yes as well, so 4-0. That's great, Arden, and honestly, you're gonna have to help me with these because I'm way off, all right? So, that passed, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Item 7 is the discussion, date, time, and location of the EMS board meetings for the rest of this calendar year, 2021.
So that leaves us with November and December, if we choose to meet monthly, and then we can amend that, depending on how we adopt the bylaws, to meet quarterly, or if we think we need to continue.
Well, the next agenda items for next year, for 22. So maybe you can have, and you have to have those decided by December 15th. And turned into shelf. And whatever you decide here today about the rest of the year, you should give to her. And I can't tell you whether the rest of the year, if you give her those dates, if you're gonna have, that's something, a question for her, I guess, whether those are gonna be considered special meetings or a regular meeting. And that all depends on the 24 hours or 48-hour notice with your agenda being posted. You follow what I'm saying? I'm thinking the rest of the year are probably gonna be special meetings, because if they weren't listed by December 15th of 2020, that any meetings from here forward are special meetings. So that's just something to keep in mind about the posting dates of future agendas for the rest of the year.
So we probably need to have a special meeting in the next 2 months.
For
At least
sure,
one, for
talk
sure.
about the bylaws and get them hammered out.
When do you want to do it, Art?
What Monday of the month is this?
Probably about every Monday, you just tell her and she'll keep it open this written.
It's the fourth Monday.
Fourth?
This is the fourth.
Oh,
today.
this meeting. I thought you meant this written.
Does the day work better for you guys?
Any day is fine with me. I can rearrange my busy schedule.
Pat,
Daytime, nighttime?
Monday afternoon, on Monday afternoon, it's good.
Yeah, like, time, you like this 2 o'clock time, or can we do it maybe more towards 1 o'clock?
Red?
Mondays, any day except Thursday is fine with me. It does break up my day, but no big deal. We can do it at 1 o'clock.
Is Monday the best day for you?
We'll see. We'll have, try it out.
Right.
So, a special meeting. Want to do it 2 weeks from today? You want to do it a week from today? Or is that too soon?
Two weeks from today would be the 8th of November.
Okay.
That should give us time to read those. Helen, you get those out for us?
Yes, sir. I just need your email. And I can't send it in one email. Each one of you will get it individually, otherwise it's a quorum.
Okay.
Didn't know that.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so looks like November the 8th, we need to make a motion on that special meeting. I would make a motion. Can I make that motion, being the clerk?
Yep.
Sure. Okay, I'd make a motion that we have a special meeting on November the 8th at 1 o'clock.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded to have a special meeting November 8th at 1 o'clock. Is there any discussion on that? Secretary?
No discussion, so we will vote on that then. Yes, for me.
Yes.
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 All right. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, while you're on those meeting deals, and we went over the posting, on that meeting, that agenda, it's not on this meeting, but if you'll see in those bylaws, that first paragraph, that is by statute, that you set up as some way, terms for each officer, for each board member. I mean, we could have did it today, but it's not an agenda item, so you need to,
It's not on there to vote on today.
no,
Okay.
no, it's not on the current agenda, so you need to have that on your agenda for.
Okay, say that again now.
And
Okay,
had we adopted the bylaws today, then we would have needed to assign term limits, so to speak.
Right.
Oh.
5 board members, so that they will rotate through and
Right.
let everybody off the board at once.
right. But what I was getting at, that's a statutorial thing. It doesn't have to be in the bylaws, but it's okay. It's in this set. You follow what I'm saying? And,
So even if it's in the bylaws, you still have to do the,
well, we have to follow the statute first.
And we couldn't decide that today because it's not on the agenda.
so do I have to create an agenda for the next meeting?
That's what has to be posted 48 hours in advance, is that agenda.
And that's my responsibility, Chairman?
And to get it to Shelley.
But that is to work out with any, here's how Shelley does it.
So I just go to Shelley. Right.
Right, but here is how she does us as commissioners. She calls us individually and says, here's what's on the agenda, or she emails us. Is there anything that you think should be added?
Okay, and that needs to be to Shelley before 48 hours before our meeting.
Well, either you do it, or if she's agreed to do it for you, I don't know what the bylaws say, but you, whoever is going to type up the agenda and post it,
Yep.
all it has to be is, on special meetings, is 48 hours prior to, if you're gonna meet here at 1 o'clock on Monday, then you gotta have it on Thursday at 1 o'clock
Oh,
on the door of this building.
But if you want something on the agenda, it has to go through the chairman. The chairman decides what's on the agenda.
so,
We don't do like that. I mean, at the county level, it's up to each commissioner what they want on the agenda. Or if it's been brought to his attention, he will send you items that he's going to put on the agenda, and you can say yay or nay. I think anybody has the right to be on the agenda or have the input on the agenda. I don't know as it has to go through the chairman. I'm not 100% positive on that, Arden, but there are very few things you can deny being on the agenda. Because it's an open meeting. You follow what I'm saying? And
you're talking, when you say anybody, Jim Jones from wherever.
if he calls you and wants to be on the agenda, he needs to tell you what for and a specific reason for being on there. And you prior to 48 hours, or if it's a regular meeting in 2022, it's only 24 hours once you're listed with the county clerk for a year. And now, if you offset from those meeting days, say nobody can make it on a specific Monday, we're going to say you leave it on Monday, and you got 3 members that can't be there, you aren't going to have a quorum. You can change those dates, but that date becomes a special meeting.
Oh,
Where is the agenda posted?
We post ours right out here. I don't know, are they on other doors, Marion? Do you know?
I think it's on here.
That's a Shelley question, but I think it may be on both doors out here. But this one for sure, because it's a handicap accessible door.
I think she puts it on all the doors.
Maybe it is on all 4 of the doors to the courthouse. And do we publish the agenda prior to and just the minutes afterwards?
And that's a county commissioner's name only.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Do the county commissioners have a website where they publish the agenda? Does the city of Alva have a website where they publish the agenda?
They have that town cloud.
But I will tell you this, just like this meeting, it's going to be on YouTube, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you want to be aware of that.
Okay.
She does a good job of editing.
So do we do item A, discuss the 2022 meeting dates?
we can do that, can we not? The number 8?
Yeah, you can, or you can wait till a future meeting. You can, and here's something you need to remember about it. There's 2 ways to go on with a question or an agenda item. You table it, then that agenda item needs to be addressed at the next meeting. You take no action, and that agenda item can be brought up again, or it doesn't have to be at any time in the future. But that is 2 distinguishing points about not addressing a particular item on the agenda.
you guys are okay with meeting every quarter? Yeah. Or do you want it more frequently than that?
You hear okay?
So I think what you guys can do on a quarterly will be fine.
So the first of every quarter? Like
Just
that?
whatever date you guys pick. And maybe you guys need to go back to your offices and figure out, like Joe, which day works best, where you guys are less busy, where he can rearrange his.
Joe, you have an office?
Yes, I do. Frosty Joe's Snow Cone.
I'm sure it's deductible.
Is that what you guys want to do, is go back and think about it?
Or Brett's not loving his day broken up at 1 o'clock.
No,
You
he's
guys-
not
You
loving
guys
I-
might
I'm-
find 3 or
I'm
4
fine.
o'clock.
I'm fine.
You sure?
1 o'clock gives me time to get back and
Okay.
get some more work done. So
We just want it to be
gives me a break.
good for all of you.
First Monday.
First Monday of every quarter?
Do you need a motion?
Yeah.
I move that this board meet on the first Monday of every quarter for the calendar year 2022
I will second.
1 PM?
at 1 p.m.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded to meet the first Monday of every quarter at 1 PM. Is there any further discussion? Secretary?
Okay, then we will have a roll call on that. Arden?
Yes.
Brett?
Yes.
Matt?
Yes.
Yes for me, so.
Now, at City Hall, Matt, you can call for a motion to, this calls for a motion to adjourn.
Before you do that, can I interject this one? You might want to, if you put that down, it won't matter because you won't have a date, but if you put down meeting the first of each quarter in the bylaws, I would add that any time a special meeting is needed, that can be added to that. Just for future, because I mean, you never know what might come up, that maybe somebody won't have their financials ready, or maybe you know, what have you, to make those payments. But if you're gonna put it in the bylaws that you're gonna meet the first, yeah, I don't think it has to be there, but meeting quarterly would be that in the bylaws probably, but not the dates. Don't put it in there, the dates or whatever, because that could change from year to year, but I would put in there in any needed meetings other than that.
We're at the call of the chairman.
Well, so everybody's in agreement on that, is what I'm getting at. You never know when, that way there's a little bit of advance notice that you may have to have some special meetings or whatever. For a new person coming on, says, well, this thing says we're only gonna meet 4 times a year, I don't, you know. And it might call for more than that. And there are some dates, I don't know where they fall, that are in that sample deal, or maybe I read them in the statute or something, some specific times that you have to come up, like providing Shelley with the budget and budget maker stuff, that times they have to be turned in.
And it might be such a thing as the first Monday would be a national holiday, or
Well, could easily happen. You know, I mean, just kind of cover your rears on the deal. But anytime it's not that first Monday for 2022, that only requires a 24-hour notice. In other words, by Friday at 1 o'clock. But if it's a special meeting, it's Thursday, if it's gonna happen on a Monday. 48 hours compared to 24. And there is a clause about emergency meetings. But but you gotta meet the criteria for an emergency.
I think it mainly has to do with financial issues.
Or weather issues, but they won't have the weather, but I mean that.
But the clause isn't in the bylaws currently. correct?
The what?
The clause, that emergency meeting isn't in the bylaws currently.
Well, those are by statute. That's for every open meeting.
Okay.
Those times and dates are they're just an open meeting rule, given the public notice.
So since you're following Opens Meeting Act, you're already following that.
I'm not even quite sure. If I'd have to go ask Shelley, where do I find a record of when the commissioners are gonna be meeting? You know, I don't know where, it's supposed to be public record, I don't know where you go look for it.
It was published.
It's posted on the board.
It was published. In a legal notice.
Yeah, but what I'm getting at is, yeah, it's published once a year, but I mean, May 26th, if I want to go find out when a June meeting is, I don't know where I'd go find that out, but we have to have them. They're on record somewhere up here, is what I'm getting at. And I don't know where that is. I guess it's in Shelley's office. Huh?
She said yes.
Okay, Art, what were you saying about item 9?
Well, seeing no further business on this agenda, I would like to make a motion to adjourn.
Okay. We have a motion to adjourn. Or second.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded to adjourn. Any discussion? Gary?
Do I need to do that again for this, for an adjournment?
Yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, you just have to stay in.
No, I want to do it, you know. Arden,
Yes.
Brett,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
yes.